Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Here's my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today we're talking 1992's Encino Man. We assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. I have seen this movie a lot. 30 years ago, Sandro, this came out.
Oh, man, you can't say it like that, dude. Oh, I'm already depressed.
No, there's no reason to be depressed. We're talking Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser. Yeah, when those guys were relevant, remember?
Yo, Pauly Shore is still relevant.
What was the last Pauly Shore movie? The most recent Pauly Shore movie you have seen?
Encino Man.
So 1992, we're off to a great start here.
Oh, you mean like actual like release, not what did I most recently watch?
Yeah.
I don't know what order they came out. Didn't they all kind of like his spike in popularity was kind of one period of time, was it not?
Yeah. For his movies, it was this was his first really big one, and then I believe it was Son-in-Law, and then I want to say, I can't remember if Biodome came before In the Army Now. I'm looking it up right now. So yeah, it was Encino Man in 92, Son-in-Law in 93, In the Army Now in 94, one of your favorites, a Goofy movie in 95, followed by Jury Duty and the same year, and then in 96, Biodome.
For somebody who never watches movies, I've seen every one of those.
Yeah, it's because they're great. But it was a time capsule. Once you get out of 96, things take a drastic downturn.
I'd like to clarify, you said all of them were great, but you also referenced Biodome. So, nope.
You know my stance on Biodome. That's the best Pauly Shore movie ever. And I say that because I really enjoyed it, but it's the first time where he didn't have to really fully carry the movie with his own craziness. He had a partner in crime in Stephen Baldwin, and I thought they played off of each other really well. Obviously, a certain type of humor for a certain type of person, but he was always the standout crazy guy in the movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for In the Army Now, if you include Andy Dick, but he wasn't fully crazy at that point.
I mean, I said I saw all those movies. They were so long ago that I don't really remember much of them.
Honestly, that's fine.
I remember Encino Man even before watching it, just because I think it's probably his best movie. Or maybe not his best movie, the best movie he is part of.
I think it was the first, and I don't want to say last, but a very notable film where he is taking the role seriously, I believe. Other than that, I feel like he's just winging it and playing off of his fame. But I do have to say, we're talking Pauly Shore movies here. We'll get into Encino Man in a second. But do you remember the other movies he was in with Brendan Fraser?
Man, you can't put me on the spot with a movie quiz. That doesn't work.
Okay, well, okay. So Encino Man was the first time they worked together, right?
Okay.
Where you have Brendan Fraser as Linkovich Chomovsky. They reunite in Son-in-Law, where Brendan Fraser plays Linkovich Chomovsky.
What? Really?
And then again in 1994's In the Army Now, where Brendan Fraser plays Linkovich Chomovsky.
No, seriously?
Yeah. Obviously brief cameos, but yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm seriously shocked. I feel like I want to watch those movies right now just to see those cameos. Oh, wait, no, we have YouTube. I'm good. Never mind.
Yeah. We'll check it out together. But also, I do want to bring up Shawn Astin. Obviously not his first big role, but the first movie I saw him in, his first acting role was obviously The Goonies, which I still have not seen.
You've never seen The Goonies?
No, we've talked about this before. I've never seen The Goonies.
Get on it, man.
I know, I've been told for a long time. But I was watching a few interviews earlier, And it seemed like Pauly and Shawn didn't really get along well on set. Shawn and Brendan, as soon as the director would yell cut, they just run to the trailer and play video games. Shawn just didn't get Pauly's nature, I guess. But apparently all three of them have agreed to do a sequel down the road if everything comes together. And I think after watching this, I would watch that movie.
I mean, I would watch it just because it's Encino Man 2. I wouldn't watch it anticipating a good movie.
Technically, there is an Encino Man 2.
What?
Yeah.
Stop already. You're blowing my mind.
This is only Encino Man in North America. In Europe and elsewhere, it was released as California Man because they assumed everybody outside of North America wouldn't know that Encino was a place in California. One of the writers of this movie, Shawn Schepps, wrote and directed a made-for-TV film called California Woman, which is almost the exact same plot, only it seems to somewhat pick up from the end of this movie, where a cave woman is thawed from ice, except instead of high school students, the main character is an ad exec, and he uses this person as the model for his new line, and chaos ensues. It did not do well.
No,
So
as it shouldn't have.
We'll just push that out of our memories. Well, I will. You just forget that I mentioned it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get an Encino Man 2 sometime down the road.
Consider it done.
Let's get into the movie. What do you say? I've ranted long enough.
Sounds good, buddy.
Don't start. Or actually, yeah, continue. I would love to hear those come up randomly throughout the episode. All right. So the film opens in the Stone Age, I guess the Ice Age. A caveman crawls. Shut up.
Oh, solid start.
Caveman crawls into his home and gives his partner animal skins to keep her warm. He builds a fire, but just as it begins to catch, the ground shakes. An earthquake creates a cave-in, sealing them both underground. A fantastic start to a comedy.
I don't know about fantastic. That intro was kind of primitive.
All right, you get one, man. You get Pauly Shore impersonations or you get your puns. You don't get both. I'm not down for that.
I wouldn't call just saying it like that a Pauly Shore impersonation. So
it's close.
Look, dude, this is a little pent up for me. We haven't recorded in a couple of weeks. That's what happens when you put this type of episode on ice.
All right, you've made your choice. If I hear any weasel impressions, we're done.
I can't do that. I can't.
Okay, good. Cut to your favorite character, Dave Morgan, played by
He's
Shawn.
He's not
Astin.
my favorite. No. Stop. Full stop right now. David Morgan, he's an asshole.
He's a complete asshole.
I never noticed it when I was watching the movie when I was younger because, you're kind of more watching it for some of the humor, the sight gags, stuff like that. This might be one of the most unlikable piece of garbage characters in a teen movie. Shawn Astin is a perfectly fine actor, but they wrote this character to be the biggest jerk.
Well, I do have to say something on that because when I was watching an interview with Shawn Astin about the movie, you could see him revert back to the Dave Morgan character, and he was just an asshole about the whole thing, talking about Pauly Shore. So I don't know if he's actually acting in this movie, or he's just going by a different name, playing himself.
No. It's definitely the writing, because it's not the actor who decides all of the motivations that Dave has, and we'll get into them. We can either do that now or as they come up.
As they come up.
All right.
We have to keep in mind,
long.
Shawn Astin, other than the Goonies, has, and I guess to a lesser extent Memphis Belle, hasn't really done a whole lot at this point. Rudy doesn't come out until the year after this. So people who haven't seen the Goonies, this is probably their introduction to Shawn Astin. So I seeing this movie and then watching Rudy immediately afterwards, I wouldn't be cheering for Rudy. Fuck that guy. Anyway, going back, cut to Dave Morgan in the then modern day Encino, screaming himself awake to a similar earthquake, which I've written is a nice way to bridge the timelines. Once the earthquake ends, he falls back into bed, covering his face with his sheet, stating he hates those things. Then a half-full icy drink falls from somewhere above his head and hits him in the face, pouring out all over his bed. And we've talked about this before. There is no way that fell off of a shelf. That was held above him, like along the ceiling from somebody off camera, and just cracked him right in the face with it.
I guess that goes back to what you were saying about him being a jerk.
Some
cameraman who was blasted earlier took his shot.
Dude, no, seriously, during the rewatch, like I noticed that the first time. During the rewatch, I saw it happen. I was like, fuck you, Dave. A panning shot covers the backyards of the neighborhood, showing pristine landscaping and beautiful swimming pools. That is until we arrive at the Morgan property. Dave's in the backyard digging out a hole for the pool by himself. And I've never had to dig out a pool. It's not my forte, but I'm pretty sure pool installation companies do that, or you hire like an excavation crew first and then a pool installation company comes in. I get it. There's no money. It's like, it's a high school kid trying to make himself appear cool by providing something he can't actually afford. But still, it looks awful.
I mean, it does look awful. I think I've seen it in other TV shows or movies as a plot device where they have to dig their own pool just to save money on the excavation part of it, right?
Yeah.
Then you just have to get a crew to do, like the concrete or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
That does feel like a sitcom shtick, though. Not an actual Hollywood film.
They also live in Encino, and they have a very nice house, and his parents wear nice suits.
Yeah, there is money there for sure. And I don't know why the parents would just be like, yeah, we're not going to pay for it. Destroy our yard.
Well, see, it would have made more sense if Dave had to be taught some responsibility. And, the dad comes out and says, remember, you only get the pool if you put in the work, right? Showing the value of money.
Yeah.
But that never comes up.
No,
he's just digging a pool.
Yeah, that would be understandable. It's a very good point. It's lacking here.
We keep saying pool. At no point does this become a pool. It is a hole in the ground.
Yeah. And poorly excavated at best. But we're introduced to Stoney, played by Pauly Shore, who exits Dave's kitchen while Mrs. Morgan yells at him to put his bagel back since he took the last one. Stoney refuses to help dig because he just wants to munch. And this is where we get the first of Pauly Shore lingo. Weasel speak, if you will. And we get a lot of it. And I know for a fact that he was allowed to improvise a lot of his lines as long as he got a point across. And this will come up throughout the movie, and I'll point it out, that I'm pretty sure the actors he was sharing the screen with at the time were really angry trying to decipher what he was saying.
I mean, context is key, and I can understand most of it most of the time.
Yes. But the dinner scene with the Morgans, you get Mr. Morgan, like the look on that actor's face, Richard Mazur, I guarantee that's 100% genuine.
Richard Mazur, the star of License to Drive.
The worst movie father ever.
Oh, best character.
Dave's sister brings him breakfast while making fun of him, saying he's wasting his time, is a geek, is never going to the prom, is a disease, and no one is ever going to swim in that pool.
Okay. All valid points. Every single one of them.
Which we don't know yet, but yes, as the movie progresses, we're like, yeah, this little girl who I thought was an asshole at the beginning of the movie makes some pretty honest and truthful statements.
But never would this conversation happen naturally, where you just come out and you're like, all right, listen up. Point A.
Yeah.
You're a jerk. Point B. No one likes you. Like, this is just somebody who just read the lines one by one and phoned it in.
And honestly, it's almost prophetic. Like, sure, there's an error here and there, but this is Nostradamus level, if you're looking at it. He's wasting his time. Yeah. Is a geek. Yes. Is never going to the prom. Accurate. Is a disease. kind of ruins the friendship. And no one is ever going to swim in the pool. Yeah, people jump in the mud puddle at the end, but it's not really a pool.
Does technically attend the prom as well.
I guess. In a non-traditional sense, yes.
Yes.
All right. Stoney tries to convince Dave that high school is over and they're losers. Simple as that. Dave would rather believe that he started slow but finished strong. He feels bad that he has nothing to show for the last few years. But Stoney tells him that he should be stoked that for the last 4 years he had full melon tweakage. I don't remember if this was cool at the time. I know Pauly was popular, but I've never ever encountered anybody who spoke that way. And not having MTV, where I grew up, information would just kind of trickle in that this guy was cool and hip. So by the time we got anything Pauly Shore related, I was like, well, I guess this is cool. Spoiler alert, it was not cool. Dave doesn't want to be known as a geek kid from Encino. He wants to finish the pool, have a killer party after the prom, and go down as prom king. And you brought up a very good point here. Yes, the order. Please do tell.
Oh, that's not the order of events. If everybody comes to your house because you somehow managed to turn this dirt hole into a fantastic swimming pool, which you have to assume there's tons of people with swimming pools in this area, but let's ignore that fact for a moment.
Oh, we don't have to assume. We've already seen them.
Yeah, we panned over it.
Yeah.
Anyway, even if somehow everybody comes to his house and uses the pool and thinks he's awesome for throwing this killer after prom party, that is an after prom party. The prom king gets voted during the prom.
Aw, Dave. Stoney reluctantly tells Dave that Robin Sweeney, Dave's crush, will never go to the prom with him. She finds him crusty. High school is interesting, a bit of a harsh ride, but they're going on to bigger and better things. And we've spoken about this too. He goes about this in a very sincere way. And I was caught off guard because I thought this crazy weasel character was crazy, but he's doing some fine acting here.
He, as a character, minus the vocabulary, is probably the most astute character who has the best perception on things. Like, he's flat out like, look, I'm okay being me. You know I'm a loser, and I'm a loser because I choose to be myself and not somebody else. And he doles out wisdom all throughout the movie.
Yeah.
You just sometimes can't tell because he says things like crusty, which to this day, I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it's weird, man. He's the voice of reason, but the voice is really annoying. We cut to Encino High School. Stoney's giving Dave a lift on the back of his moped, all while spouting nonsense such as, I'm a stony, crusty dude.
Again, good or bad?
I love his carefree attitude, like you said before, but he just doesn't care. They spot Robin, played by Megan Ward, who we talked about before in Glory Days. Stoney howls at her and Dave tries to hide, yet ends up just staring at her. The camera cuts to Robin and her boyfriend Matt, played by Michael DeLuise, who I know from a few episodes of 21 Jump Street. His older brother Peter DeLuise was one of the main cast of the show. And I think you know his father, Dom DeLuise.
I mean, he was a regular in the final season when they lost Booker and Johnny Depp's character.
You know your show's going downhill when Richard Grieco's like, yeah, I'm out.
Well, to be fair,
he got a spin-off.
He left because they offered him a spin-off.
Yeah,
which
that's great.
I believe had 2 seasons. So by the time 21 Jump Street would have been canceled, he would have still been doing season 2 of Booker. So there was no way you could have known.
No. And honestly, seasons 1 through 4 of 21 Jump Street are fantastic. The state's response to Degrassi, basically. Highly
amazing
recommended.
Show.
Yeah. Dave is stunned that she would be dating such a jerk as Matt, and Stoney just lists off reason after reason why those two make sense.
I mean, he's a stud.
He is.
He's buff with that gorgeous beak.
He does have a big nose. And he's got the spikes on top.
At one point, Stoney says, gorgeous beak.
Yeah. He's also got like 18-inch pythons. Mine are only 4. He's so self-deprecating. I love it.
But he's also self-aware at the same time.
Completely. The next scene takes place in history class with Mr. Brush.
I like this guy.
Do you remember seeing him before?
No.
Rick Ducommun?
No.
Well, you don't remember him as Tom Noonan's agent in Last Action Hero, but I'm really surprised that you don't remember him as Art from The Burbs.
Oh, I knew I liked him for some reason.
It was great. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I should probably throw in The Burbs again. That was a blast.
Not just the actor, but he seems like a fun teacher.
He really does. Yeah, he teaches his students about Cro-Magnon Man in the Ice Age. Here we're also introduced to Robin's friend Ella, played by Robin Tunney, who I forgot was in this movie. And she's great. And there's another performer in this film that I had to do a double take at because I do not remember her in this at all. But we'll get to that.
Rose McGowan?
We got to it. Yeah, Rose McGowan. Well done.
I love how the teacher asks Matt a question and Matt answers, and the teacher just like stops, like stunned, like, "Oh yeah, that's right. You're listening."
And the thing about Matt too is like Matt's not an idiot; he's just an asshole.
Is he though? I would argue that
he's presented to be from Dave's point of view.
75% of the time, he's not an asshole, but we'll get to that too.
Yeah. Mr. Brush talks of underground glacial movement in the area, which he debunks. And I have a note here saying he's probably not a scientist and probably shouldn't be telling his students this. Dave and Robin meet eyes, but Matt slowly moves into frame, staring at Dave and shaking his head.
Iconic scene.
It is. It is a classic meme.
People who don't know this movie have seen that meme.
I think this meme is more popular than Michael DeLuise's career.
Oh, that's harsh, man.
It's a sad truth. Not my fault. Brush pulls down an info chart with facts on Cro-Magnon Man, to which Ella states, he looks dope. I'd go out with him. Brush informs her that they were extremely brutal and took whatever they wanted, including their women. And he really gets in her face for that comment.
And like, she likes it.
Yeah, but like I like Mr. Brush as a teacher, but that's really uncomfortable for a high school teacher.
Oh, is it? Is it really?
Well, I mean, I guess in the news we see worse.
I had a history teacher in high school that would wave a baseball bat over your head.
Oh, the worst I had was a teacher that would just drink vodka in the back room.
Oh, well, I was having a good time.
Yeah. Back to Dave digging the pool.
Oh, right. That was happening.
Yeah. He hits what turns out to be a Mousterian bowl, a prehistoric artifact. More like prehistoric Tupperware, according to Stoney.
So Stoney says that he knows that that's that type of bowl because don't you ever watch Jeopardy?
Mm-hmm.
We were just in a scene where they were in a class talking about this stuff. Literally could have said, don't you pay attention in class?
Yes, but there is a Jeopardy callback later on.
I know, but still.
I think it goes to show that Stoney isn't an idiot. Like, he's bringing in all of this trivia and he's learning as much as possible. He's just comfortable being who he is.
Yep.
Another earthquake hits and Stoney accidentally launches the bowl in the air. Dave makes a diving catch to save it and happens to land directly on top of a slab of ice. Looking into it, Dave is stunned. Stone, there's a guy buried in my pool. The two scream and flee to the house, pounding on the windows trying to alert Dave's mother. They return to the pool and see Dave's dog digging at the slab. Stoney says they've never found Jim Morrison. Well, Jim Morrison was never actually missing, so that's...
Did these guys forget how to open a door?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like...
Also, Dave's mom is on the phone when they're pounding on the window, and she just gives them an annoyed look. Be like, they're panicking heavily.
Well,
I mean, ignore them.
She knows what kind of a person Dave is.
Yeah, it's like yell at Stoney for taking the last bagel, but when the boys are in terror, go away.
Well, yeah, but see, she doesn't like Dave, and the bagel impacts her directly.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stoney says they never found Jim Morrison. Dave suggests Jimmy Hoffa. Stoney thinks it could be Jimmy Mahoney, a kid he knew in Cub Scouts, which is obviously meant for a laugh, but that's really dark.
I didn't even catch that in multiple viewings.
Yeah. And he lowers his voice. He's like, they never found Jimmy Mahoney. And he looks at Dave. He's like, a kid I knew in Cub Scouts. It's so creepy. Stoney deduces they've discovered a caveman. Dave is incredibly enthused, thinking this could bring them fame, money, even popularity. But that's too much responsibility for Stoney. Anyway, he's already popular. How do you not love him? Like, I just want to give him a hug at this point.
Yeah, Dave is such a jerk to him. He's like, yeah, you travel in big groups of yourself. Or big groups of one, or something like that. And Stoney's just like, I'm happy being
I'm just
me.
Happy, Dave.
Yeah.
Fucking Dave, man. Who did we rip on for an entire episode that one time?
I don't know.
Okay. There was one guy that we ripped on real hard for the entire episode, and we were supposed to like him, but whatever. Dave tries to convince him that they could use the money. A new scooter, new bell-bottoms, fundage, wheezing older nugs with a mansion and a pool. And I did have to make a note here that spell check is killing me at this point. Soaking up the rays, watching all the Jeopardy he can handle. Apparently that was the clincher.
Everybody's got a price.
Yeah. They somehow rig up a contraption to pull the ice slab out of the pool, and though not explained, manage to get it propped up in the shed. The next morning, they wake up outside and decide they should thaw him out. Dave takes pictures while Stoney breathes hot air on it. They agree not to tell anyone. I'm still confused as to why they wouldn't alert the news or a museum or something, because they would still get all of the fame for discovering it.
Sure.
Hollywood movie plot, I guess. At school, Dave approaches Robin, and the first thing he does is tell her he found a caveman. Great job.
What a jerk. Don't tell anyone. Hold on while the first thing I do is tell someone.
Well done, Dave.
Dave.
She doesn't believe him and leaves, obviously. Matt grabs him and pulls him off screen. Back at Dave's shed, space heaters are maxed out trying to thaw the caveman. The ice begins to crack, and then cut to Matt stapling Dave to a wall. Tells Dave that he's been a headache since the 3rd grade. Also says to forget about Robin. She wouldn't piss on his gums if his teeth were on fire, which confuses me every time I hear that statement.
I would like to defend Dave here.
You're defending Dave?
No, sorry, Matt.
That sounds right.
Because Matt didn't really initiate anything until, Dave said, oh, I got a date with your mom. And Matt even says, well, that's not very nice. And then he staples him to the wall and says, why do you make me do these things to you? I know that it's meant to make Matt look like a jerk, but what if hypothetically Dave doesn't say something like, I have a date with your mom?
Yeah.
Does it go that far? Because it seems to me that there's one person instigating this stuff.
Honestly, somebody pointed this out online. I don't know where I found it, but they made a very good point in that Matt Wilson is probably the best villain in a teenage comedy since Biff Tannen in Back to the Future.
Well, that's a high bar, man.
Since, not better than, best since. And okay. I think that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, except that, there really is some scenes, not all, some scenes where I'm like, well, Matt's just defending himself.
Yeah.
Whereas
you don't really get that with Biff.
No. Biff goes to sexually assault a woman.
That's a good point.
There is no redeeming Biff Tannen.
And I don't understand what Matt is trying to say here when he says, some of us pump and some of us slump. You should try to pump more, Morgan. Might clear up your acne. Care to tackle that one?
Yeah. But, pump is more like metaphorical for taking care of yourself and looking good. Slumping is kind of like hiding, slouching into the background, not caring about your physical or visible presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the acne part.
It's weird. He doesn't have acne. I know that. But yeah, it's It's weird. I don't know. Early 90s lingo.
Shush!
Which we get a lot.
Only like twice.
I think 2 or 3 times. I like it though. Like that is it. It solidifies the idea that we're supposed to see him as an asshole, as a villain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd hate him just for that.
Yeah. Matt writes "eat me" on Dave's forehead, and for some reason, Dave just tries to blow away the marker instead of moving his head. There's nothing holding his head in place.
Can we get to the real, like, enigma of this scene?
Enigma? All right.
What is the fabric component holding this shirt together?
I have no idea, but it's quite durable.
It has enough integrity to stay intact while stapled to the wall and supporting a full human being. Like, you catch a shirt on, like, a door, it's gonna rip. And this thing is pristine.
And from what I remember, Matt's friends aren't holding Dave there while he does it. They're standing behind Matt laughing as Matt's stapling him there.
Something that bothers me about this movie is whoever the guy is to the left of Matt from our vantage point when we're looking at him as Dave is standing there with like his head tilted, and the look just bothers me because it's all, I can't tell if he's a bully or if he is sexually aroused by what is taking place.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Oh,
that's a weird thing to notice, but okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that. You got to go back and look at it for yourself.
I will say here that I will do that. Matt pulls the fire alarm and the students leave their classes laughing at the boys stapled to the wall. In the garage, the ice slab finally breaks and the caveman wakes up in a panic. And this is a comedy. I get that. But the cave collapsed on him. It wasn't a flash freeze. Either way, I don't think thawing, like melting the ice, would bring him back.
No. He would have been crushed.
Yes. The caveman makes his way outside and takes in his new surroundings. That is until he steps on a rake that smacks him in the face, knocking him down in a classic sight gag. We also get a weird interaction with the Morgan's dog here too, where he just starts scratching behind his ear and the caveman just does the same.
I mean, he doesn't know what a dog is.
I know. I don't think... Well, no. I don't know how long ago dogs became a thing, but I also would believe that somebody who just woke up in a very alien environment would not just sit next to an animal and try and mimic it. It'd probably attack it or flee.
Try to eat it.
Or that. Sure.
It's a caveman.
It's been a long time. A helicopter flies overhead and the man screams at it before grabbing a shovel and jumping the stone wall. Scares a mailman, drinks gutter water, and attacks a garbage truck, which is implied to make elephant sounds. Obviously, just, caveman trauma. And then he runs inside in terror.
The hydraulics of the forks, Ben.
Right. It makes elephant sounds, and we're meant to assume that he sees it as like a mammoth or something.
No.
Yes.
It's the hydraulics.
Sure. If the garbage trucks around here sound like elephants every time they picked up a dumpster, I would be livid. In the living room, he steps on the TV remote, inadvertently turning on the television and catching a clip from The Terminator, and eventually landing on MTV, which has to be a Pauly reference. One music video includes a clip of an island native person dancing, and the man begins dancing, recreating what he sees on the screen. Dave and Stoney return to the garage and find puddles of water. Genius Dave thinks the man melted, and Stoney tries to console him by offering to buy him ho-hos.
Seriously, Dave, you're embarrassing yourself at this point.
It just wasn't meant to be.
Oh my God. I hate Dave.
Dave sucks, man. In the house, they find cave painting-esque art and the smoke alarm sounding. The caveman is upstairs in Dave's room trying to start a fire. Amazed that the man is alive, the two teens introduce themselves. The phone rings and the caveman flies into a rage, grabbing a baseball bat. Dave arms himself with a skateboard, but the caveman has already found amusement with jumping on the bed. The phone makes more sounds, again sending the man into a rage. He charges the boys, but is stunned when Stoney sparks a lighter in front of his face.
Yeah, the calm, collected one in the face of panic,
Yeah.
who is a quick thinker. Stony.
Stoney's the best. Stoney's the man. Why is Stoney hanging out with Dave?
I don't know.
I never really questioned that friendship before.
I know that Stony is weird, quote unquote weird, because I don't know, 90s, whatever. But guarantee you, some people would have thought he was cool for being himself.
Yeah.
Like, not just being himself, but like unapologetically himself.
And I think that has to come through with just Pauly Shore being Pauly Shore, because his mother, Mitzi, owned the Comedy Store, the stand-up club. And he would see so many different stand-up comedians coming in and out of there all the time, everybody doing a different shtick, everybody being themselves, doing real comedy. It was the place to be in California, after all, Los Angeles. And I think he just got used to seeing so many different people being themselves that he just kind of allowed himself to do that too. And that's why it kind of seeps into this character so well. Sorry, I'll get back to the plot. The man is infatuated with the lighter and goes back to trying to start a fire, uttering no when Dave stops him. No. They decide to clean up their prehistoric pyromaniac and teach him their ways. So we get a montage. Bath time. I did have to make a note that they were washing him with insanely corrosive cleaners.
Oh, the worst.
It's like drain cleaner, everything you could find, just dumping it in. But it looks like a bubble bath at the end. It's not so bad.
Yeah, that seems about right. I mean, it's only the type of thing that would work in a comedy montage.
Yeah. Well, they brush those teeth, cut that hair, give him a decent shave, which is weird since he had a weird tiny mustache and that was it.
Yeah, that made me wonder. Because we're led to believe that he's a caveman. He has really long hair.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a beard.
At all.
At all.
I think he had more facial hair after he came out of the ice than when he was crushed. And
why didn't they feed him?
That's a good question. The kitchen was torn apart, though. So maybe he did find something. Okay, I don't know, man. Fair. If I came home one day and there was a caveman in my room trying to start a fire, I wouldn't be like, fuck, maybe he's just hungry.
And I would love... Well, I mean, you have to know he thawed out of the ice. Yeah. I mean, it's not like he was just in your house. You unearthed him.
They are in California, though.
Why would kind of fluoride is in that toothpaste? Because Brendan Fraser has a lovely smile with some beautiful teeth.
Oh, Brendan Fraser's great. He's a gorgeous man.
No way one brushing would get rid of caveman teeth that have not been taken care of. This movie is unrealistic.
Can you imagine Dave, though, after they clean him up, being like, oh my God, he's more attractive than I am, and he's a caveman?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave clearly recognizes it just based on how he treats him.
Yeah.
As if he's going to be their key to popularity.
Yeah. You are the ladder we're going to climb.
He wouldn't have thought that if he thought he was the more attractive one.
What did you think of Brendan Fraser's clothing?
I don't know. It's the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I have a note here that he's 6'3", and the costume designer, just to make all the clothes, since it was too hard to find things that would fit him and make him look cool. So I guess we're just not supposed to ask why Dave would have a wardrobe of clothing that was way too big for him.
Maybe that's the dad's. It's his,
yeah.
That's his leisure wear. When he's not wearing a suit to work, he likes to sit around in checkered shorts.
Richard Mazur, fashion icon.
Hey, can you not see those shorts, right? Like plaid checkered shorts is the kind of thing that a guy in a suit on the weekend would go play golf in. Come on, man.
Maybe. I don't know about that shirt or vest, though. He does look great, though. He looks great in this movie.
Oh, he's a handsome man.
Yeah. They decide to name him Link after missing Link. Naming scene's pretty funny, especially Stony number 2.
I like the Stony number 2 because he's from the Stone Age.
It's not at all clever. It's just funny.
I hate how they decide to call him Link. This is fine. This is a fine name. I get the reference.
Yeah.
But then Stoney's like disappointed. He's like, Can I call him Linkage? Cool. No, not cool. That's a much worse name.
It gets pretty close, though.
Just stick to Link. It's perfectly fine.
All three freak out when Dave's parents return home. That scream was great. It's just, my parents, your parents, and Brendan Fraser screaming not in unison, in order. It's classically timed comedy, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Dave gets Stoney to sneak Link outside while he tries to clean up the kitchen mess that Link made earlier. His parents are unimpressed upon entering the house. Understandably so.
You know what I find interesting? His excuse for what is going on is he's making them dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Not a chance. I don't care if you're the worst cook in the world. Your kitchen is not going to look like that if you're trying to make dinner. His sister is calling him out on it. This is BS. And the parents are like, yeah, this is within the realm of possibility for him. Yeah, I can see him. How much credit do they give their son if they actually believe that this would be the state of the kitchen with him trying to cook?
Oh, God, no. I guarantee that his parents do not want him around whatsoever. They don't respect him at all. They have zero hopes for his future. And they're just putting up with him because they can't get rid of him.
You notice how you never see the parents without the daughter around?
Except for the mother when they're freaking out about finding him in the pool.
And that's the angle of the shot. We don't really see
That's
anything
true. She
other than
could
her
be
being
around.
in the phone. But anytime that he actually interacts with the family, it's all three of them, right? Really gives me the vibe that they're like, we failed with Dave. Let's just put all of our focus on her.
Yeah.
She has a chance.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That definitely comes through here. We also
I don't even know her name. Does she have a name in the movie?
Oh, God. Yeah, let me see what I can find here. No.
Tina Morgan?
Tenna? Ellen Blaine as Tenna Morgan.
Oh, well, anyway.
Yeah. All right. I do like this scene a lot, though, because of the incessantly ringing doorbell. I love Richard Mazur's delivery of a line and then the expression on Brendan Fraser's face. Like,
who is this boy? And
yeah.
why is
Hello,
he ringing our
Stanley.
doorbell?
Who is this strange boy, and why is he ringing my doorbell?
And who has a doorbell on the back door?
Everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this crazy concept.
Yeah, back doorbell. All right. Maybe I'm weird. I do love how Link looks so impressed with himself for figuring out how to press a button.
Yeah.
He's so happy. Dave convinces his parents that they forgot about an agreement to house a foreign exchange student from Estonia. Thus, Linkovich Chomovsky has arrived. How do they come up with Chomovsky?
I want to punch you, Dave.
Yeah.
I just want to punch you so much.
Sporting fresh cow pajamas, Link is drawn to a poster of a scantily clad woman on Dave's wall. Here, Link learns the terms Betty and Gonzagas. Dave tells him he needs to sleep because tomorrow is a big day. Link's going to high school. All right. I have a lot of problems with this plan, but we'll get to it. The next day, the boys enter the school, and yeah, I have right here. Holy shit, is that Rose McGowan?
Yes, it is.
And we never really see her again, unfortunately.
One other quick scene, just as quick as this one.
It's a shame. She's amazing.
Yes.
Dave's plan is to enroll Link at school, and he'll make them cool. Stoney isn't down with this plan. He just wants to be Link's friend.
Again, insightful, honorable. Yeah. How do you not
realistic?
Just get rid of Dave. Let me watch a movie with Stoney and Link.
Yeah. Like, how, Dave? How are you going to do this? Link has no ID whatsoever. Are you just going to be like, this is Linkovich Chomovsky. He's from Estonia. He needs to go to class here.
Oh, man, this comes back later.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And my entire thought process is, how did this work? How did the school say, yep, looks good?
There is a clip in a in a production featurette that I saw where there's a quick cut, and I don't remember this being in the movie. No, I know for a fact it's not in the movie, and it's a press conference, and it's Stoney and Link sitting behind a desk with the classic, like 8 microphones that jammed in his face and like flashes going off, and journalists are asking questions. And you just hear one person go, "Link, what do you think of the rumor going around that you're actually a caveman and not a human boy?" And Link just lifts his arm up from under the table, and he's got a club in hand and just cracks him over the skull with it and laughs.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. Was that like a promotional shot? It wouldn't have been in the movie. That was just like a trailer, right?
Yeah, it's obviously a deleted scene. It's on the production featurette on the DVD. It's also on YouTube.
Perfect for that.
Link spots Ella talking to Robin and makes an acrobatic beeline right for her, which you would think would snap both of his shins.
Okay, I get that he's a caveman and he would have had, physical, experience that the high school boys wouldn't. I don't think that there was a lot of parkour taking place in the Ice Age.
No. It looks great.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He aggressively gets in her face, completely attracted to her, and she's eventually into it. I think she just likes attention in general.
Yeah, well, this character has some problems at home.
Yes. Also, I just noticed that the school's mascot is a mammoth. So, there's that. Anyway, Dave introduces Link to them, and Link tries to grab Ella's chest. The boys drag him away, and Ella is infatuated, saying Link is hers, and this is just in time for prom.
Oh, you missed Stoney's line, though.
Oh, what did he say?
Because Link goes to grab her, and he says, "Gazongas."
Yes.
Right? And then they kind of shoo him away after they were kind of making up excuses. Right? Like when he grabs Robin's hair, he's going to be a hairdresser. Or whatever.
Yeah, he just grabs it and sniffs it. But
for this one, Stoney just says, "I think that means he likes your cones," and then walks away. We're not going to try and justify it, but I'm going to explain to you what is already clearly obvious with another already clearly obvious statement.
Oh, Stoney. Just a matter of fact, man.
Oh, he's fantastic.
We're back in Mr. Brush's history class, and Link is drawing on the chalkboard. Matt is not pleased with the new student. Ella says she's into him and implies that Robin is as well. We have no reason to believe that, but okay. After a quick break to dance with students in the hallway, Link is dragged to Stoney's Spanish class. There, Ella tells Stoney to drop Link off at her place that night.
No, at Blades.
Oh, at Blades, right.
Yes.
Cut to the food mart.
And Stoney, can we come too?
Can we come too?
This public establishment that is open to everyone, can we come too?
The next scene is probably the most iconic in the movie, yes?
I don't know what the next scene is.
We cut to the food mart. Stoney teaches Link about the wonders of grindage, specifically a burrito. Right. Is it 1 minute in the microwave or 2? I love these two guys, Araji and Kashmir. 1 minute, 2 minutes, silence. 1.5 minutes. I love how one just says 1, the other says 2, and they're like, 1.5. And now it's time to learn about the 4 food groups. Dairy group, milk duds. Fruit group, sweet tarts. Vegetable group, corn nuts. And meat group, the burrito.
You totally missed that right before the food groups, Link picks up a banana. As Stoney is saying, here we have 4 food groups. And this is not one of them.
Oh, I didn't miss it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Next, it's time to wheeze the juice.
Oh, you missed the burrito.
2 minutes.
Well, no, like now the burrito's done. And it's warm on the outside, frozen on the inside.
Lava, isn't it like lava on the outside, icicle in the middle?
Yeah, something like that.
2 minutes.
And then, one of them reinforces. 2 minutes.
I'm not even going to get into wheezing the juice because everybody knows it. It's just so iconic, but I love it.
Yep.
And it does give Link brain freeze.
Which is fantastic.
Montage of Stoney and Link at Mega Mountain. Stoney drops Link off at the Morgans afterward, and Dave is pissed because Dave sucks. That is until he finds out that at Mega Mountain, they're now running the Vapor in reverse. His anger rages again when he finds out that Link is now speaking like Stoney. And honestly, I can understand that, because having one friend talk like Pauly Shore is enough. And again, spell check in Word agrees. The dinner scene here is amazing. Stoney talks about how he's going to marry Dave's sister. Stoney's asked, "How's your mother?" And this is dark, but I loved it. Like, she's pretty bummed. Can you pass the peas?
Yeah.
And again, Word freaked out at this. If you're edged because I'm wheezing all your grindage, just chill. Because if I had the whole Brady Bunch thing happening at my pad, I'd go grind over there. So don't tax my gig so hardcore, Cruster. I have a note here. I have a note written that says Microsoft Word is like, you need to fucking stop right now.
I know you said words.
Link catches a fly and eats it. Meat group. He then discovers the dog eating out of the bowl he made millions of years ago. He's unfazed by this and only wants the dog's food.
What does that say about the cooking?
Terrible.
I would rather eat dog food.
Yep.
Because it's not like he just tries it and is like, no, he starts going to town on it.
Yeah, I watched an interview with Brendan Fraser, and he was talking about this movie, and he brought up something I never really noticed. Link just eats everything. Anything. He tries to eat everything. He tries to eat the toothbrush as they're brushing his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
He eats just random things. He'll grab them and shove them in his mouth, and he actually did that. And he's like, honestly, it got old pretty fast. Because you do several takes. He's like, oh, great, dog food. Again.
It was actual dog food?
He was actually eating dog food.
Ugh.
The boys pull into the parking lot of Blades, an indoor skating rink, and they're stoked because they're finally part of the elite. I don't know why that's a cool place to hang out in Encino. It's just a tiny rink with almost no seating and hot dogs, I guess.
I thought they weren't invited. How did they get in?
How did you enter this public establishment?
Yeah. I don't remember saying you could come in here.
I don't like the setting. Like, it makes sense for Matt to be there, like his kind of character, but nobody else. Nothing about this place screams cool to me.
I mean, I think that the movie was just trying to think of a more unique setting. Because you get, like, the burger dives and, like, party places that are pretty... Like, in these movies, they're pretty common. This was something a little different. Even roller rinks were pretty popular in these movies, right?
No, I just realized something.
What's that?
It's because of the ice.
Yeah.
With Link. I completely forgot about that.
I mean,
all right, that makes sense then. Still, make it look cooler. Jesus Christ, producers. Ella is stoked to see Link and immediately jumps into his arms. She's less than pleased when he sees the boys telling Link to lose the Geek Squad. Dave tries to approach Robin, but a skateboard is kicked under his feet and it awkwardly sends him crashing into her. Link decides to draw more of his art on the rink glass, this time using ketchup and mustard. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I think Ella's like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend back in Estonia?"
First, Ella asks, "Is that me?" To which Link
says,
he says, "Betty,
Betty,
yeah. Betty Nugs,
Betty Nugs."
And then she asks, "Is that your girlfriend back in Estonia?"
Yeah, it's great. Brendan Fraser gets a lot across on camera without saying almost anything.
Oh yeah,
he's good. Dave does the creepiest thing ever next and shows Robin a photo of them as children in the bathtub and telling her not to forget that they were naked together.
Loser!
Get him out. Get him out of there now. Fucking stalker more than loser.
Movie would be so much better without Dave.
Yeah. Matt crashes into the boards and has a stare down with Link. That is until he's distracted by a Radmobile arcade game. Matt grabs Dave by the neck and pulls him onto the ice. Honestly, I was like, all right, he deserves it. Fine. It's supposed to be an aggressive scene and be like, you fucked up, Dave. No, Pay for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched you hand Robin a picture or a picture photo of you guys in the bathtub as children. Go, Matt, go.
And even when Dave, like, she has it in her hand, he's like, you can keep that. That's your copy. You're like, oh, Jesus, Dave. Fucking weirdo. Link sees the ruckus and goes to rescue his friend, but is scared once he gets onto the ice.
Well, he slips.
He slips and then immediate flashback to the cave-in.
Yeah, I don't think I think it's more of a traumatic experience
Exactly.
than just like
And
lack
that's why
of sure-footedness, right?
No, and that's why I brought up the point. That's why it's at the ice rink, because it's supposed to trigger Link into like traumatic memories.
Yeah.
Matt calls out Link and punches him in the face, and he just takes it. Dave tries to convince him to fight back, but Link walks away.
I don't understand why they're impressed that he took a punch. Is it because he didn't like flinch or respond or like?
I assume that we're supposed to believe that Matt's just your all-around jock guy, throws stiff punches, can take people down in fights easily. All it really did was catch Link off guard and like hurt his nose.
Fair.
Robin's pissed and gives Matt his ring back. Outside, Stoney tells Dave that Link is a pacifist. He only fought for food and survival. What would he have been fighting for in there? Dave says for face and to be cool. Stoney says Link doesn't know what cool is.
Again, Stoney. Amazing.
He's great. Dave decides that Link has to learn how to defend himself against buttholes like Matt. So they do the most logical thing ever. They show Link VHS tapes of Wrestling Classics Volume 4, Kung Fu Brothers, and boxing matches. Much like the MTV video from before, Link mimics what he sees, putting Dave in an airplane spin, erroneously breaking a 2x4 with Dave's head, not drinking a glass of raw eggs, but instead eating the eggshells. Again, eating things, like I said.
I like that part.
And
Yeah.
finally putting Stoney in an airplane spin, which Stoney claims hurts his pancreas.
I mean, I'll take it. I like the montages. They're fun.
I do love Dave taking the 2x4 from both ends and just holding it in front of Link's face. And Link just grabs Dave's hands and just breaks the board over Dave's face.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Also, I laugh every time I see Link throw Stoney up in the air and you just hear him hit the ground. He's like, oh, my pancreas. It makes me laugh every single time I've seen this movie. The next day at school, we get a montage again. Link gets praised for taking Matt's punch. He eats a frog in science class, does back handsprings down the hallway, makes pottery, plays arcade games, learns how to use MS Paint, is fawned over by Rose McGowan, you mentioned, short clip, and is welcomed into the computer club. I read something online. I didn't realize that was the same actor, and I still don't believe it is, but the internet says it's true, so it must be, right?
From the Goonies?
Short Round from Temple of Doom.
I can see it.
One of the best characters of that entire film.
I can see it.
Dave is annoyed that doesn't happen to him when he gets punched by Matt, and Stoney tells him to wait a few million years. It's a good burn.
I hate Dave so much.
I hate Dave too. They take a class trip to the California Museum of Anthropology to see the new exhibit of early man, which obviously you know right away is a horrible idea. Link gets overwhelmed by the displays and has a complete breakdown. And the boys find him trying to start a fire similar to when we first saw him in the Cro-Magnon display.
I felt really bad for him at this moment.
It's heartbreaking.
And like when they come to console him and Brendan Fraser kind of throws down the sticks and almost like he doesn't even have the energy, but does like a little wave away.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, he conveys so much without speaking.
Yeah. Just the look of the eyes and like a grunt here or there. Maybe a word or two. He does so well. Stoney tells Dave that Link finally knows what happened to him, and the two try to calm him down, telling the crying caveman that they're his new family. Matt sees this from a distance and knows something weird's going on. That night,
How does Matt know something weird is going on? I get that it's an odd
he's
image.
Matt Wilson, Sandro. He's amazing at everything he does.
Okay, anyway. Like, it's literally got a guy struggling with his friends consoling him. Yes, he's in the display, but I mean, he could have just been looking for like a spot to hide, right?
Yeah.
Also, by the way, the computer guy is Ki-Hugh Kwan, who was Short Round in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. He was Data in The Goonies, and he was Kim in Encino Man.
Awesome. Probably the most respectable actor in the movie.
I mean, he doesn't really do much in the movie, but sure, yeah.
That's fine. And also, Matt seeing this going on and being like, something weird's happening here. All he sees is a guy who he punched in the face, who didn't hit the ground like everyone else, is upset and crying with his friends consoling him. That's all he knows.
Mm-hmm.
That night, Dave says that at the start of the year, nobody knew who they were, but Link changed that. Stoney convinces him to be more mellow about Link, again being the voice of reason. The next day is driving class. Robin is there yet again, apparently having failed numerous times. But Link also gets in the car, oddly enough, after the driving instructor tells him to shoot his barber.
Why does Robin have to be... Like, why did she have to fail the class multiple times? Why can't she just be in that class?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no reason. It's not even character development because it doesn't really come up at all.
No.
Dave and Stoney see him getting in the car and freak out, realizing he only knows driving from the Radmobile arcade game. Which is funny to me, man. I loved it. The boys jump in the car just as Link takes off and does some sick stunt driving, eventually coming to a stop at a club called El Crib. Few problems here.
It's the day. It's the middle of the day.
Late morning, early afternoon at latest. And this bar is packed. Link hits the crowded dance floor, which really shouldn't be crowded.
No, it's the middle of the day.
3 bar patrons force Stoney to pound tequila, and Dave turns down Robin's request to dance. Well done,
because he
Dave.
doesn't like to dance.
I don't dance. There are a few people in my life, if they ask me to dance, I'd be like, sure, let's go.
If it's
if this is the love of his life,
over,
fucking dance, Dave. Get out there and do whatever you think dancing is, but get out there and do it.
Stupid Dave.
Enrique, one of the previously mentioned patrons, points out his girlfriend to Stoney and Dave, telling them not to look at her, and any man that does will no longer be recognizable as a man. Link sees her, picks her up, and walks off.
There's a few gags, even though this place should not be open, there's a few gags I liked in it.
It's not a bad scene. It just doesn't make sense as to when it happens in the day.
Yes. Like, at one point, Link just drinks salsa from the table and then spits it out because it's hot. And when Stoney is drinking with the guys, he's about to take like a third shot. He's all into it. And he's like, wait, do I have to pay for these? So good.
Yeah, there's some great writing here, man. And the thing is, Brendan Fraser is great as Link. Pauly Shore is amazing as Stoney. Dave, Sean Astin, I don't think anybody could play Dave the way Sean Astin does. So maybe he does bring something to the movie in this character.
If he does, like if he's playing it, I have no problem with Sean Astin's performance. In my mind, it's almost entirely how this character was written.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't think you could give the most charismatic person this role. It's not going to come off well because everything he does is counterproductive to being like a protagonist.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. I never really noticed it until like doing notes for this and just analyzing everything. But yeah, once you start looking at character motivation, it's weird, odd choices.
Not just motivation. Think about all of the gags we've pointed out, all of the fun moments. They're all other characters. Dave doesn't drink salsa or take shots with the bar patrons. Like, Dave's not
here.
He's a loser. I hate Dave.
I guess it's nighttime now because Matt and friends break into the school's office and grab Link's records.
So this goes back to where we were talking about the admissions.
Yeah.
They open the file.
Yep.
And these three guys that we're not necessarily meant to believe are the brightest. I mean, the teacher was surprised when Matt could answer a question.
Mm-hmm.
It takes them like 30 seconds to realize that they're looking at a dog license.
Yep. It says it shows records of vaccinations from rabies and distemper, multiple flea dips, worms, and physical checks.
How did the school get this?
That's my
and
question.
Think this is on the up and up.
Yep, that is 100% my question. It makes no sense whatsoever.
The only way this would have worked is if they showed a scene where like Dave and Stoney broke into the office and planted files to make it look like he had files and not actually have anybody read over them.
Yeah. Even then you think to be like, let's just try and make something up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be some sort of word program. They have MS Paint, right?
Got to be other files here that we can take a look what they are supposed to resemble and just copy them.
Just photocopy them.
Even if you have to steal one, photocopy it and white out the information. Like, God.
and Matt ponders what the two biggest losers in high school are hiding.
A dog based on
a
this.
Dog. Yeah, a man dog. Back at the club, how long have they been there?
Well, I mean, it's nighttime now, Ben.
Yeah,
how long have they been there?
Long time. Robin is dancing on the bar before Link pulls her down for even more dancing. And he slams a bowl of salsa and freaks out, then joins a conga line. Enrique confronts him in Spanish about looking at his girl, and Link drops the only lines he learned in Spanish class. The cheese is old and moldy. Where is the bathroom? The drunk man agrees, laughing, saying he's right. She isn't worth it. His girlfriend appears out of nowhere and slaps him, and he turns to his friends crying.
How did he get that from that line? I don't know. I like the cheese is old and moldy. I thought he said, "Where is the library?" Regardless, you'd think the guy would be like, "Oh, okay, this guy's okay. He's not right in the head."
I'd be like, "You're right. She is old and moldy." No, the police enter next, and everybody flees.
Why are the police entering?
Why are they running?
Why are they entering? It's a bar.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it that there's minors in there.
I get the minors running.
I guess the police were looking for the car, right?
Maybe that makes sense. But when the police enter, why does every single patron of that bar run for an exit?
I have no idea, man.
Stoney and Robin escape with Enrique and his friends, but Dave and Link get arrested. But why would they be arrested? They weren't drinking or anything. They were just in a bar underage. Wouldn't they just get kicked out?
Stole the school's driving car.
I guess. Do you get arrested for that? Detained, maybe. But they get put in jail. Matt's waiting at Robin's house as she gets dropped off. He's super pissed, but asks when she wants to be picked up for the prom the next night. She tells him she isn't going to the prom with him and wants to go with somebody else who's really cool and likes having fun. She enters her house and closes the door in his face.
Who's cooler than I am?
Matt Wilson, number 1. Dave uses his one phone call to ask Robin to go to the prom with him.
What a douche.
He sucks.
So bad. How about you get yourself out of jail first?
She turns him down and says she wants to go with Link. She catches on that Dave is upset and suggests the three of them go together. And he hangs up on her.
Garbage. Who goes?
I don't know.
Dave as a group.
Dave has not been thinking straight from the beginning of this film.
Well, I even mean Robin. Like, you don't go as a group.
She was trying to cover for it. Like, she knew she upset him. Obviously cares to some extent.
Doesn't want to be mean. Good friend either. I distinctly remember Ella saying that she calls him. I call the foreign guy. And here's Robin saying she wants to go to the prom with him. Terrible friend. You know what? Maybe her and Dave deserve each other.
You're a terrible friend.
What did I do?
Look at that reasoning. Exactly.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Cut to the Morgan house. It's pouring rain, and Dave is deep in thought, staring out of a window at the pool while Link sleeps. How'd they get out of jail?
I mean, I'm with you. They might have just been detained. I don't know.
Has to be, right?
I don't know.
No way Link's phone call did anything good. The next morning, Dave loads Link into the car and drives to the middle of nowhere to set him free.
What a jerk.
Why would he think that was a good idea?
He doesn't want the authorities to find him and cut him up.
Yeah. I just, like, what the shit he gives him doesn't even make sense. A backpack full of supplies, okay. A skateboard, okay. And a handful of quarters for Radmobile, and then just tells him to leave.
He seems pretty set.
Yeah. And it's so sad because he just starts walking with his head hanging.
Like he doesn't know where to go.
He doesn't know what to do.
Understand what's going on.
All he knows is his friend is making him go away. Yep. He walks along the highway as Stoney arrives. The Weasel argues with Dave about how he was just using Link to become popular and is upset that Link became the cool one. Dave says he did all of the dirty work while Stoney was just along for the ride.
That is where I completely lost it with Dave.
Yeah. There's no coming back from that.
From the start said, I just want to be his friend. I don't want to manipulate him. I don't want to use him to become popular. I just want to be his friend. And he was there every step of the way. And Dave says, I did all the hard work.
Yeah. And the next thing I have here is a quote from Stoney that I 100% agree with. Those are the desperate words of a loser. Maybe Matt Wilson was right all along. Yes. Yes, he was.
Oh, man. Was he
Dave
ever?
sucks. Matt Wilson's not the best guy in the world either. Don't get me wrong here. But that's an accurate statement.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The war of words turns physical. Dave forces Stoney to the ground, but Link runs back and pulls Dave off of him. Link wipes the blood from Stoney's mouth with his fingers and shoves them in Dave's face, showing him what he's done, saying family. Everybody calms down and the boys apologize and hug.
I would not forgive Dave that quickly.
No.
Jerk.
He cast out Link and then punched Stoney in the face. This is our protagonist?
No, he's not my protagonist.
Not my protagonist. Cut to prom night. Dave gets Link ready and tells him to have a fun night and that he deserves it.
Okay.
But also tells him that if he touches Robin, he'll kill him.
Okay. This entire movie, they refuse to set him out into the wild on his own. And now they're just going to send him to the prom without either of them.
Yeah.
There's no way that could end poorly.
Well, I mean, really, he held his own pretty well in the bar.
But they were still there.
They were there, but they didn't really
there.
Need to be. Chaperone for sure. But didn't have to step in until the police showed up.
But they were there, is what I'm saying, right? They were hesitant. They had trepidation with leaving him alone at any time. And now they're just going to send him off. What, do they think that Robin is the chaperone?
I mean, she does a good job of keeping him in check.
But she doesn't know what he is.
No, I know.
Somehow.
Don't try and make this movie logical.
All right, I'm done.
Robin arrives and asks Dave why he isn't ready. He says that he's grounded and sends her off with Link. Why would they even let Link out of the house at this point? I mean, the parents.
Well, I mean, they can't ground him. He's not their kid, and he doesn't speak English.
Yeah. Stoney and Dave drink champagne at the pool, which isn't finished, but has been filled with water, making it just a sludge pit.
There's no way that water's not seeping out through the soil.
Oh, yeah, it's just going to be mud in a matter of hours. Drunken Matt and friend, both dressed for prom, show up at the Morgan house and break in through Dave's bedroom window. Matt knocks over a framed picture of Robin, which is creepy, and is immediately taken out by Link's hammock, which is great. Great visual humor there. He put all of it into that bump. Picking up the photo, he discovers Polaroids documenting the discovery of Link in the block of ice. Dave and Stoney hear the commotion and see Matt drive off with the photos. Quick cut to the champagne glasses at poolside, shaking as another earthquake hits. I'm surprised we didn't see more of that, honestly, throughout the film and like Link freaking out at an earthquake happening.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about how it's been happening all the time lately.
Yeah. Not apparently the case, but all right. At the prom, Link and Robin are being named prom king and queen. See, they got it in order, Dave. But Matt shows up and exposes Link as a caveman. The crowd cheers, and Matt's completely embarrassed himself. He holds up the pictures just as Dave and Stoney arrive. Dave rushes the stage to grab the Polaroids, and Matt punches him out. Link uses his combat training to headbutt Matt in the face twice and throw him up into an airplane spin, eventually throwing him into a cake. Robin examines the photos and is shocked, but nothing comes from the scene, so why bother including it?
I don't know.
After a ridiculous dance sequence, the party moves to the Morgan house where Dave and Robin finally kiss.
Can I share with you my irrational hatred for this dance scene?
What, the flash mob?
Yeah, I very particularly hate Dave in this scene.
You hate Dave in every scene.
Yes, but this one especially. Because he goes to Robin and he's like, watch this. And then proceeds to do what everybody else is doing. What are you showing off,
but
man?
Worse.
Like, you do watch this, and then you one-up everybody with like a solo or something. You don't say, watch this, and then do the exact same thing everybody else is doing. Dave, you suck. You don't even know how to impress somebody.
At least he was trying to dance.
Go drown in
Unlike
your
last time.
Dirt hole of water.
Jesus. Stoney and Link notice cave art painted on the patio doors just as the fire alarm sounds again, mimicking the beginning of the film. They rush upstairs and see smoke emitting from under the bathroom door. They peek in and see a cave woman, Link's partner, having a bath. Not sure how she would know how bubbles work. Also, there was no fire in there. The estranged couple are ecstatic to see each other again, and Link jumps into the tub.
He's so cute.
He's great.
He's so happy.
In a matter of minutes, they give her a complete makeover. Not sure where they would have gotten those clothes again.
Well, you see how small they are, right? Like, she's showing full midriff, short shorts. Clearly, they're Dave's sisters.
No, that's just wrong.
But on the sister, they would have been baggy.
I guess. The two hug. We get a card letting us know the movie is over. Stoney then delivers the line, "I'll be back," from the Terminator, and roll credits. That was Encino Man.
Yeah, it sure was, man.
I still like it.
Let's get into some numbers.
Okay.
All right, what do you got for me here, buddy?
Budget $7 million.
All right. Yeah, it's a pretty modest budget for 90s comedy.
Yeah, not too many big names in it. It's fine.
Especially at the time, right?
Yeah. Which is impressive then because the gross was just under 41 million.
Okay, so good, successful little movie.
Yep, successful for sure. Definitely pushed Pauly Shore further into the Hollywood realm. And definitely created Brendan Fraser's career for sure. Shawn Astin was already
on his way.
Yeah. Well, he's from Hollywood royalty, right? Like, he's the son of Patty Duke, and his mother married John Astin, who I mainly recognize as the original Gomez Addams from the Addams Family TV show.
Fair, but that doesn't always translate to a successful career.
No, but he had acting around him all of the time, so you knew that's what he was going to do. The reviews, I have a major problem with.
All right.
I'm just going to ask you what you would give this out of 10, and then we'll go into IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes.
Objectively or subjectively?
Subjectively.
Subjectively, I'd probably give it an 8. 8 out of 10.
Objectively?
6 or 7.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you're pretty much on there. IMDb is sitting at 5.8 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with the audience score this time for Rotten Tomatoes because they gave it a 56%.
Okay.
What I don't understand, the critics, the tomato meter rating is 17%.
Okay, no, come on.
No.
This is so far from that realm of terrible.
It's one of the most quotable movies from the early 90s. It's got a crazy good cast, a really fun story. It is not 1.7 out of 10.
No, that's garbage.
Well, I really do kind of want to get into the awards here because I want to know who you think the worst performance was.
Fair, but you start with worst performance.
I
So you
know it. I feel like I might have made a wrong choice, but I do believe that the worst performance here
okay?
is Shawn Astin
Okay,
as Dave.
okay.
Um, I had asked you earlier in the episode if anybody else could have really played the character and you'd feel the same way. And I don't know, but I feel like Shawn Astin wasn't even trying. Like he didn't even care. He obviously didn't get along with Pauly Shore. That translates perfectly. And his screen time with Brendan Fraser is limited. His interactions with the other actors, even as like the quote loser character, just seem to lack any sort of enthusiasm whatsoever. Even when he's trying to like show off, like it's just I don't know if this was a perfectly executed loser role or if he just sucked at it. What do you think?
I think you got a big mixture of performance and character there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I can't disagree with you that there are a lot of times where it just seems like he doesn't care. But then I try to ask myself, like, what does he have to care about? He's playing like the worst protagonist that I could imagine for this type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
What is he supposed to get behind? What are the motivations for him supposed to be for this character? Like, unless he's completely oblivious, how does he read this script and think, yeah, yeah, I can see this. I'm a good guy. I can get behind this. What do you put yourself into this?
I don't know. He had less motivation in Stranger Things and still did 500% more in that than this.
Oh, he was
I mean,
great in Stranger Things.
yeah, but his character didn't really have anything to go off of. He made it his own. There was a very limited motivation, but he basically brought his own enthusiasm to it. Now, yes, I know this is 92 we're talking about, and he doesn't have that much experience, but it's lacking, man. It's
Yeah, but
horribly
the thing
lacking.
is, this character does have motivations.
I know,
They're
that's what I'm
just
saying.
terrible.
That's fine. He doesn't come across as believing what he's saying on screen.
Would you? If you saw this script, would you be like, how am I supposed to make this likable?
If I saw this script, I'd be like, I know who my parents are. I don't need this movie.
I mean, maybe it was a bigger payday and he just was excited to right? Because he had done things before,
He had done The
right?
Goonies
And that was more of an ensemble cast. I don't imagine he
and a
was,
minor character in Memphis Belle.
yeah, like I don't think at that point, like this was his chance to be the main character of a movie.
Yeah, but
Maybe
there
just
is.
because it was the
Go ahead.
maybe just because it was like the first major starring role for a movie that he could be in, like maybe that the appeal of that might have whisked him away a little bit.
But he was already cast as Rudy before this movie came out. So this didn't really build his career at all. And I'm wondering if that might have been the thing. He's like, well, I've got this much better movie coming up. I just don't care.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's all speculation. But who is your worst performance?
It's Sean Astin as Dave Morgan.
Oh, God damn it, man. Giving
I
me
mean,
shit
but
this whole time? What's
Pardon?
your reasoning? Okay, let's clear it up. What's your
Okay,
reasoning?
so I actually have a very different reasoning than you do. And it's because I don't think anybody was bad in this movie. Like, I genuinely look at the list and I have to force myself to find a worst in a relative sense, but not in the sense that it's bad by any means. Like,
So
I
you
think
just picked
Sean
the
Astin,
least best.
yes, because even if you look down the list, even minor roles, Robin Tunney was great. Richard Mazur was great for the little bit that he was in, right? Like he shows confusion when what's going on. I forget his name, Lumpkin, something Lumpkin, the teacher, right? Everybody in their role does a great job. Even Matt, as much as the shush bothered me.
I loved it.
Well, yeah, but like it gives you something. Like it gives the character a hook, right?
Yep.
And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't have a bad performance in this movie. I only have a worst in the sense that Dave Morgan doesn't give you that much, right? Like all the other characters have something to work off of to deliver a unique performance. And as much as Sean Astin does a perfectly fine job, the character has no dimension to allow him to do an amazing job. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think you could get anybody this role and then elevate the role, if you get what I'm saying.
Yep. No, that makes perfect sense. I agree.
So I only pick him in the sense that I have to pick somebody, and I'm not going to like cheap out like you sometimes do and not pick someone or have an honorable mention or something.
Oh, shut up.
Okay. Anyway, so we agree on that one.
Yep.
I start off best performance, and it could be a little bit of bias. It could just be in general, but I'm going Brendan Fraser as Link.
Okay. Reason.
And it is almost entirely based on how far advanced he was at that time that I wasn't aware of at acting without words.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is an emotional anchor for a lot of it. I mean, you know, Stoney is kind of like your moral compass, but Link is the emotional anchor. When he freaks out at the museum, when he's discovering the world and fighting a dump truck, I get what this character is supposed to be thinking and feeling without him even saying a word. And I don't think that there's enough appreciation for how difficult that can be and how well he does it in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this right now for film anyway. His first film, Dogfight. His role, Sailor Number 1. His second film, Encino Man. Linkovich Chomovsky. This is his second film role. And look at what he did.
Impressive.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, what did you have?
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, man, 2 for 2.
Yeah. I could see why some people would pick Pauly Shore, but Pauly Shore is just being honest and delivering his lines well. Brendan Fraser has to carry this through physical action and not comedy. Not just comedy. He has to...
I like that you put in the just, because he can do the comedy too.
Yeah. But he conveys so much emotion. And normally we look for that in facial tics and recognitions, but he does it full body. Like, he is animated all of the time. His body is moving everywhere constantly.
Think of the scene where Dave is trying to teach him their names. Dave, yeah. Link. And when he gets it wrong and he says Dave, and you see he kind of like jumps on the bed from excitement and he laughs and his eyes squint. There is so much going on so many levels where there's this like innocence where the character thinks he's doing well and then he gets frustrated. And like there's...
Yeah, like when he
I'm gonna stop gushing over it now.
When he gets the name right the first time, and they're like, yeah, and he laughs and smiles, and his eyes are lit up. And then the next time he gets it wrong, and he still makes the same sound, big smile, but the look on his eyes change. He's looking at him like, I did it right?
Yeah,
he's great. He's so good in this movie.
So many people are, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he gives you something that you can say like definitively he's the best.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. What was your favorite or most memorable line?
I don't know what you picked, but I'm gonna have to say we have to cancel. Like, we have to disqualify Wheeze the Juice.
Okay, fair.
Okay. It's just a line everybody knows. It's memorable, but there are much better lines. And this one, I don't think anybody else would pick, but I love it because it stands out for Stoney's character, because not only is he being heartfelt, open, and honest with his best friend, but as the movie plays out, we find out this is true. He says, Robin Sweeney, bro, she's not going to the prom with you, man. I wish she would, but she's really not. It's like, look, I've been paying attention. I know who you are in love with. I'm sorry. She's not going to the prom with you. And for your sake, I really wish you would. I want to see you happy, but you have to be realistic, and it's not going to happen, man.
There's another part of that section, too, that's really well done.
Yeah, I just took a quick piece out of, like, a back and forth.
Yeah, because, like, one of the most astute parts of that conversation is where he reveals to the audience that Dave had a chance with her in middle school. And Dave
don't get
didn't
me
want her because she hadn't hit babehood yet.
Yep.
And it just goes again to show how much of a sleazebag Dave is.
Yeah, I actually left that line out of my notes because I didn't want to have to say it. It's just horrible.
Yeah. And the thing is, so many times in the movie, he references how he's been in love with her forever. Well, I guess that forever only started when she became hot because
Yeah.
apparently he had a chance with her prior to and didn't want her.
Yeah.
I hate Dave. No, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole again.
What about you? Favorite or memorable line?
So honestly, every one of my nominees were Stony lines.
It's believable.
And I gotta say, it was way harder to pick one than I anticipated. Wheeze the Juice was never one of them.
Okay, good.
Almost all of them were lines that were like self-reflective about wanting to be himself and family and just wanting to be like friends.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I tipped my hat and I went with one of his more subtle comedic lines to me. And it was when they were pouring the tequila and he goes, stop, dude. Do I have to pay for them?
Yeah, it's just a throwaway line, but it hits so perfectly.
Well, because it's a subtle humor in a movie that's doing a lot of very much in-your-face sight gag humor. And
it's definitely a hit you over the head kind of movie.
To be fair, I think all of his like enlightening lines kind of just cancel each other out because there's no way I would have been able to pick between them.
Yeah, that's fair. And like I said, that's why I just took a quick section out of a back and forth for mine, because we've already said that Stoney's the voice of reason here. That's fine. I don't think anybody expected Pauly Shore to be able to deliver those lines as well as he did. And I hate the fact I have to say that because now Pauly's kind of considered a joke, even though he does have acting talent. He still does. I think he's a great actor who just picks bad roles.
Well, I mean, at the time, you also had to strike while the iron's hot, right? If this is what he was popular for at that moment in time, and this is what he's getting cast for, you don't know if you're going to get that opportunity again. You take it, right?
Well, he had a 3-movie picture with Disney. This was the first one, and then Son-in-Law, and then he picked In the Army Now against the advisory of his agents and manager. And it's because he just loved acting. He didn't care what the movie was. He just wanted to be in it. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be acting. And his choices just kind of ruined his career. And I saw an interview with him where he goes on saying like it makes him sad to watch his old movies because he had so much fun doing them, but his own decision making took that away. So I know. So I get to watch movies like this and Son-in-Law and In the Army Now and Biodome and get to see him have a blast, and it makes me happy. And like this was a perfect example of it. Like he had such an amazing performance and so many great lines. Like this is, I don't even want to say peak Pauly Shore. I think it's like reference Pauly Shore. Everybody should be watching him in this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little bit of a rant there.
Honestly, I could watch a whole nother movie of just Stoney and Link.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so for most memorable moment, I had the stupid dance scene where stupid, dumb-faced Dave tells Robin to watch this and then proceeds to do nothing that is impressive or stands out. And I cannot express to you how much I hate that moment in time.
Yeah, a negative, memorable scene for sure, but I get what you're saying. I'm sorry. I hate that that's the most memorable scene for you, man. There's a lot of good ones in here. Are you done with that one, or are you just going to stew on it?
I'm not elaborating anymore. No, I'm stewing on it as it is.
Okay.
Stupid Dave. Dumb.
Oddly
you don't
enough,
like dancing. You shouldn't have danced then either.
In this over-the-top comedy, we both picked serious scenes. And that, like, yours is serious for the wrong reason. I picked the fight on the side of the road.
It should be my most memorable.
Yeah.
It really should. And it's up there.
I
remember
impactful.
A lot of scenes in this movie Unfortunately, they're just overshadowed by some stupidity.
Yeah, like Link pulling Dave off of Stoney, pulling them both up to their feet, like wiping Stoney's mouth, like wiping the blood off his lip, and like just shoving his hand in Dave's face, saying "family." Like that does not belong in this movie. First and foremost, it's such a powerful scene with almost no words being spoken. Yeah, that totally stands out for me. That's definitely my most memorable scene. I loved it.
I wish it was my most memorable scene.
Yeah, sorry, man.
It's not your fault. You didn't
I know.
make Dave a stupid jerk face.
All the Dave hate. But I'm going to ask you, man, after we've talked about this for a while, we went over numbers, we went over potential sequels, actual sequels, and awards. What are your overall thoughts of the movie, and would you recommend it?
Well, I mean, I already said earlier, subjectively, I'd give this like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay, we've covered that. But as far as recommendations go?
This is a fun movie. I don't see any reason why somebody should avoid watching it. It is a bit of a time capsule with a lot of the outfits and specifically Pauly Shore's dialogue for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a fun movie. It's an iconic movie. You might not like it, but you're not going to regret watching it. It's an easy movie to sit through, watch, enjoy. I say everybody should watch it. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, whatever, you're out a little bit. Don't.
Honestly, I think anybody who watches this movie that has a problem with it was born much later than the release date of the film. And the biggest hurdle they have to get over is this what people thought was cool in the 90s?
If you're one of those people, if you are listening right now and you don't know if you should watch this movie, or you're bitter because it's too much of a time capsule, it was out before your time, all I have to say to you is don't tax its gig so hardcore, Cruster.
Jesus, that's rough. Definitely give this movie a shot. When I suggested we cover it, I was a little hesitant. I was a little nervous because I had great memories of it and I didn't want to ruin it for myself. And I just ended up reinforcing my love for this movie. I would recommend this to anybody. Again, yeah, it is a time capsule, like you said. You have to understand this came out in 92. Times have changed. Culture is different. Comedy is eternal. This is a funny fucking movie. Some jokes may land flat, but for the most part, some of them are just elevated because of the time frame that's passed. 100% recommend. I love it. I love it so much more now. A staple in my collection forever.
All right. Well, we both liked it. If you didn't like it, then all we can really say to you is, shush! All right, Ben. We both had a blast with this movie. We both liked it. We both had nostalgia. I don't think we could have had a more positive experience, minus one particular dance scene, which we won't speak about again.
Yeah.
That being said, what can we hope to have the same amount of enjoyment from next week?
Well, you can't win them all, dude.
Oh, no. Don't start it like that.
Next week, we're talking 1984's Trancers.
I'm Jack Death. I'm a trooper in the 23rd century.
Jack Death, Angel City PD. May I see your stats?
What did I do?
Under Section 7 of the Penal Code, the Council authorized me to administer you a transfer suspect examination.
You can't give me a TSE without a warrant.
I got your warrant right here, pal.
Okay. I don't want any trouble.
Hold out your...
My job is hunting trancers.
I got nothing to hide.
Finding them.
Negative.
And singeing them.
Look out!
Of course, sometimes they find me first. Then it's a little more complicated.
How do you know Whistler's location?
We monitored a line disruption in Los Angeles, December 1985. Van Zandt, Ash, and I all had ancestors in the city then.
If you think I'm bringing that scum up the line, you got the wrong trooper.
Unless you stop Whistler, everything the Council has accomplished for the last 40 years will count for nothing.
Okay, let's say I believe this. You're a cop from the future and you're chasing this guy Piper.
Whistler.
Why doesn't he just turn you into one of these zombies? Or me?
Trancing only works on squids, people with weak minds, easily controlled. Lena, I'm from another time, another world. I don't even know what you people eat for lunch.
Okay, I got fried rice, egg rolls, and beef chow mein.
Beef? You mean like from a cow?
I thought it was rough in the 23rd century. I didn't know how hot it could get.
Jack?
How's my tan? It was getting hotter all the time.
Jack?
I guess I just attract a certain element no matter what century I'm in.
This way, mister!
Anyway, I gotta run now.
I want to ride with the lady. Over here, Astin!
And he's never even been here before. Trancers.
Until next week, have a good one, guys.
All the best, guys.